Alrighty, kids. So we're gonna be playing One Step from Eden. A new game coming out this week. Slay the Spire meets Megaman Battle Network. I know people are very excited about this upcoming release. People have been waiting a very long time, and the game's absolutely beautiful, so I can see why all the hype is here. We're gonna be talking about a little bit of the basics so that you guys feel more comfortable going into the release and you guys feel more ready to go, because this game is extremely brutal. So I can give you guys the tools for success, all the merrier. So we'll talk about a little bit about the what this game has upon release, going to PC and Nintendo Switch. We have the single player and co-op, local co-op. You and a buddy will be able to take on One Step from Eden together side by side. There will also be PvP on release. It is local multiplayer PvP, but if you buy it on Steam, you can use the couch share as well. Or if you're on the Nintendo Switch, you know, you can just share it with a friend and be ready to go. Tons of cards in this game, tons of unlockables, as you can see. Absolutely ridiculous. So we're gonna still be unlocking those as we go. We have our stats screen, bunch of interesting stuff here. You can see we have 13 hours of playtime in the main game. Also keep in mind that I've been playing this game for about a year now. We've been playing the beta version, so try to get everyone prepped up the best we can. So let's jump into the single player screen and look at some of the characters that we have here. You'll only start with Saffron, if I remember correctly. She'll be your main character, and she's really cool as like a bread and butter character. She's very popular, and she can go many different routes as far as her deck building capabilities. So let's look a little bit at her kit, and we'll talk about what's going on here. So when you collect on Saffron, your starting character, eventually you'll be able to unlock starting kits for each character, and this will drastically change the style of the character and how they'll be played. So as a starting kit, she's gonna start with a weapon. Each character has their main hand weapon. I think by default this will be the E key on the keyboard. Each character has a weapon to start off with. They're all completely different. Some are free, some will use mana. Saffron, in this case, she has an automatic machine gun that does 2 damage a tick. It shoots non-stop. It's very fast, but pretty weak. You also have a starting artifact, Second Soul here on Saffron. On death, heals 600 HP. So this also makes it the perfect starting character, because once you die, and you will die a lot in this game, she pretty much gets a second life. So it's a really powerful relic, especially for as you start off the game, making her an all-around really solid character, especially with the branch of cards she starts with. So we'll look at some of the spells now. Thunder hits 4 tiles away. It does 100 damage. So we're going to talk about all the cards and how they work once we get a little bit more into this. She also starts with Kinetic Wave. Hit 4 tiles in front, pushing enemies away. Gain 1 flow. Again, we'll talk about a lot of the keywords as we get into the video. Step Slash, dash forward and hit enemies in front. Anchor. And Frostbolt. So as you can see, she has a little bit of all different types of stuff going on here. You can go any direction you want with this character. Really solid all around. The game will also have different ascensions, similar to Slay the Spire. As you get better, the game can get harder and harder, and we'll go over that stuff later. Let's start the run, and I'll show you guys what we're looking at. So the game threw us right into our first battle, which usually starts extremely easy, 1 enemy. We got lucky. We also have a hostage to save. So this will be our medic hostage. If we do successfully save her, and she doesn't die, she will throw 100 HP at us. One of the few ways in the game to heal up HP, and now she's dead. Farewell! Farewell, my sweet princess. I'm actually gonna kill this guy for us so we can start talking about some of the stages and stuff. Alright, so let's talk about the UI when you first get into a game. We have a lot of information on the screen, and it can be a little bit overwhelming for new players, especially if they aren't familiar with the genres like Slay the Spire and other deck builders. So what we're looking at on the bottom left of the screen, right under my main character, you're going to see a blue bar. That's my mana bar. All the cards in the game are going to consume mana, a certain amount of mana. It will say that on the actual spell. And it's going to come right out of that blue bar there, and that's going to tell us exactly how much currency we have to actually use on the cards. The difference between like this and say Slay the Spire is all the mana is going to come back in real time. So you can see if I throw out some attacks here, the mana bar is going to go down, and it's going to return based on our mana regen rate. A little of the other things we're looking at, if you look above our character's head, above little Saffron here, you're going to see the 2 cards we're holding. You always hold 2 cards at a time in this game. So you have for instance, your left-handed spell and your right-handed spell, your Q and your W. As you can see, the keys right here on the UI. So they do that so when things are getting heated and you're doing a lot of dodging and there's a lot of crazy stuff coming at you, a lot of times you don't have time to look away from the actual stage. So you can look right above your character's head and see exactly what you're holding. Another thing that we're looking at here is the left side of the screen. You're going to see some more cards. These are the cards that are coming up next, unlike a lot of other popular games. In this one, you can see exactly the order of your deck after you shuffle. So you know exactly what's coming up right after you use an ability. For instance, here's my Thunder. It's coming up next. So if I use my Q ability, you're going to see the Thunder pop on down into its slot. Beautiful. Another mechanic this game has is shuffling. When you run out of cards, you will automatically shuffle. For instance, I'll throw up everything we have here, and we'll automatically begin to shuffle. At the end of battle, you shuffle automatically, so there's no wait time, but normally there'll be a delay. You can also shuffle anytime you want. Let's say you have 2 cards that you really don't want to use in your hand, or you're just in a bad situation and you really need some other things ASAP. You can hit the space bar and instantly shuffle your deck. Try to get a new reroll. Let's go into our deck menu by hitting the I button here, and we'll look at some of the other mechanics. This is where you're going to find your deck. This is where you're going to be mixing and matching and seeing exactly what you have to work with and which way you want to go with your deck. There's a lot of important things to notice on this screen as well. So on the right side of the screen here, you can see exactly what cards are in my deck. When you start the game, you will always start with 1 card removal. So right at the beginning of each run, if there's a card that you really don't want to have in your deck, you know you don't want to go that direction, maybe it doesn't fit. For instance, maybe I don't want Frostbolt, or I know I'm not going to build a Frost deck. I can throw this right out of my deck right now. So for example, let's say we didn't want Frostbolt. I can hit the G key right now, and that card is tossed away. The more cards in your deck, the more mana regeneration you're going to have. So every certain amount of cards, you're going to see a little threshold marker. Once we pass this threshold marker, you're going to see it has a little 0.1 on it. That's showing you that your mana regeneration rate is going to actually get faster. So it's actually rewarding you for having bigger decks. You can build small decks all you want. They could be extremely powerful, but it's also going to reward you if you decide to have that bigger deck, which is also going to make it harder to get the cards you want when you want them. While we're looking here, we'll look at some of the other icons here. We have our luck on the bottom right, the little shamrock. Luck's going to increase in many ways as we go throughout the game. The game will give us many different ways where we can choose whether we want to increase our luck factor or not, which is going to manipulate our cards. It'll also manipulate the difficulty of the game. On the left side of that, you have our armor. Armor is going to reduce all the damage that comes at us during the whole game. We have our attack power, the little red icon you see here. Attack power is going to increase our attacks from our character, and it's not to be confused with spell power, which you see to the right. Spell power and attack power are 2 different things. It can be a little bit confusing, especially while you're new to the game. So we have our auto attack. With Saffron, as I explained earlier, we have a machine gun. That's going to be manipulated by our attack power. That is not our spell. All the cards that we use, for instance, our Q and W here above our head, that's going to be manipulated by our spell power, and that's going to make that directly stronger. So there are two different things going on, and it all depends on the kind of character that you want to build and what you think is going to be powerful. Another very important mechanic and unique, I would say, to this game, especially if you're coming from some other popular games like Slay the Spire, each card is in a category, and we'll talk about the face of the card and what we're looking at now. On the top left of each card, you're going to see its mana cost. That's exactly what's coming out of your blue bar, your blue mana bar at the bottom of the screen. So for instance, Kinetic Wave here is going to use 2 mana. We have Thunder with 1 mana here, Step Slash with 2. And that you have to pay more and more attention to, especially if your mana regeneration rate is pretty low. You want to be very careful about all the more expensive cards that you may throw into your deck. After you see this name of the card, step slash, and the icon, we also have what the card's exactly going to do. For instance, step slash will dash forward and hit enemies in front. So this is going to spell out usually exactly what that spell is going to do for you. There's another very important and very cool thing that's been added to make your life easier, especially while you're new. There's going to be tons and tons of crazy cards being thrown at you when you're new to this game. It's going to be very confusing. Keep in mind that there's a huge learning curve in this game, so take it one card at a time. Don't be afraid if you're getting beat up. If you hold E over a card, a nice video will pop up showing you exactly what that card is going to do, and it'll make you a little bit more comfortable as a player adding cards to your deck when you at least have seen them go off before. For instance, Kinetic Wave here. You can see we'll throw out the wave in front of us, going 4 tiles long and pushing all the enemies back. And it makes it a lot more comfortable, you knowing how that card is going to react on the battlefield. We can see Thunder here. A lot harder to hit with Kinetic Wave, only hitting a single tile, 4 tiles in front of us. And you can use this technique on all the cards to just get a lot more comfortable with what you're adding to the deck and whether you think it's going to be a good fit for your deck. So another thing is under that, we're going to see some flavor text, and the important part is how much damage your cards are actually doing. So if you look on the bottom right of the card here, you see 80 damage. Step slash will hit every character. As you can see, it's a big hitbox for 80 damage. Another mechanic I want to go over is under that, you're going to see our focus, the category that the card is in. And this is also an extremely important mechanic, and it's new to this genre. Each card is going to be placed into a category. And why this is important is the game is going to give you the ability to focus. You may be wondering what these are for. At any time during the game, you can go into the focus slot and put a specific category in that slot. And what that's going to do is it's going to increase the chances that you find the cards in that category. And that can be extremely important. Let's say I'm looking at my starting Saffron deck, and I decide, what kind of deck do I want to build? Well, for instance, Kinetic Wave gives us flow. Maybe I want to build a flow deck. Maybe I want some defense early to start off with. I can go right up here to our focus and say, all right, let's see exactly what's in here. Oh, I want a little bit more defense. Let's see. Hearth has flow, root, and tile destruction. Sounds interesting. Maybe that could be something that we're looking for. Healing, pain and poison, maybe some extra health. If you know you're going to be taking a lot of hits and you're in desperate need of some health manipulation cards. And so this will give you the ability to really tailor your deck to how you want to tailor it, increasing the chances and the odds that you'll find the cards that you're looking for to build those synergies that you want. Another cool thing that this does is it gives you the ability to really add a lot of cards to this game without the fear of polluting the deck. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this game is all the freedom and creativity that you're allowed to build with these different decks. There's a lot of room to just approach the game many different ways, even with the same character. Here is an example of upgrading cards and why upgrading cards is super unique in this game. For example, we'll take Shield Catch as an example here. Shield Catch is 1 mana, tosses a shield flask into the air, and if you catch it, you get 60 shield on catch. So now we're going to choose to upgrade it with Tab. So one of the cool things about this game is anytime you upgrade a card, you get to choose its upgrade direction. It's a really cool way to synergize cards in your deck, how you want to synergize them or to what you need. So one of the really cool ones here is a Shield Catch D, which means double cast. So it's going to increase the cost by 1, but it also casts 2 of them now. So you can see they're tossing 2 flasks into the air. We could go restore half mana restore half mana cost on use. So once we use the 1 mana, we're also going to get half of that back into the mana bar. And on this last one here, we have Consume, Heal, and gain 5 max HP. So this means that we're only going to be able to use it once each battle, but we'll also heal and gain 5 max HP every single time we use it. Really nice way to start to scale, especially early in the game, if we don't think that this is something that we need to use multiple times in a battle. So as you guys can see, it just opens up a lot of room to play this game in many different ways and synergize cards that normally wouldn't synergize with your deck, giving you a lot of freedom. So here we have the battle map. Kind of like Slay the Spire. If you're no strangers to those games, you're familiar with maps like this. They're randomly generated. And so we're going to be looking at a bunch of different things here. So the top one here, our battle, is our bread and butter. We're just looking at these. These are your run-of-the-mill battles, your traditional battles. You have your distress beacon here. These are actually pretty important. Distress beacons are usually a hostage calling for help. This can be anything from somebody that wants to toss you some health, a medic. That's important during your runs. There could be people that want to give you relics, people that want to give you extra cards, cash. So these are extremely important, especially if you're looking for some extra resources for your run. And then we have the hazards. So these are usually tougher fights in the game. And they're going to reward you with some upgraded cards. So these are really good opportunities to get those stronger cards that you might want to unlock for your deck and really give your deck the advantage. We'll talk about unlocks. We mentioned unlocks. We should talk about some upgrades and stuff like that. Some of the other icons you're going to be looking at is the fire here. This is going to give you HP. This is one of the surefire ways to always find HP. You're always going to see a fire on each map, so you definitely want to route over to these if you're planning on taking a lot of damage in the upcoming battles. And we also have a shop. We'll go over that a little bit later. That's where you're going to be buying cards, taking on missions, things like that. And then we have our chest icon. And chests are also, there's many different chests that you can encounter. Unlike Slay the Spire and some other games, the chests will not be free. You usually have to work for it, whether it be dodging the attacks that it's going to throw at you, breaking it open, doing enough damage in a certain amount of time, getting it before it disappears. There's many different chests that we have to try to open, and you'll have to learn those over time. And then at the end of each area, you'll have the boss before you go on to the next. And the boss battle is they're pretty intense in this game, and we'll go over those a little bit later. So let's show you guys what a regular battle encounter could look like. Here we have two different enemies, and we also got lucky and got two different chests. On the chest, you can also see that there's a timer on it. If we don't break the chest open in that time, they're gonna disappear. You can see we broke open the medic chest, but we failed on the bottom chest, so it got away from us. We have two different enemies here that we're dealing with, and this is just what your run-of-the-mill traditional battle can look like and consist of, which they're going to be randomly generated, so you never know what you're going to run into. And flawless battle, I'll take it. Anytime we flawless a battle, we're going to get a little bit increased money, so really good way to farm up. The better you get, and you can start to flawless some battles, it'll be a lot better on your pocket. To speed this up a little bit, I'm going to skip around the map and get different examples of some different areas for you guys and show you some of the things that you're going to be up against when you start to play this game on the 26th. First place we'll go is a distress beacon. That means there's a hostage that needs saving, and guess what? It is our job to do that. Looks like we have a bomb scenario. Let's see what we can do here. See if I can push it away. There we go. Hostage saved. It's a money hostage. There's three main hostages that we're going to be saving. That one was holding a pile of coins in her hand, meaning we're going to get rewarded with some more money when we successfully save her. The other hostage that we could be saving is a little bit darker outfit, and that would be has a package in their hand, and that's going to be your Relic hostage. Those are extremely important to save in this game. All right, the next example I have for you guys, this is going to be your chest room, your treasure. It usually has different chests have different attributes and different things that you need to do to unlock them. You're going to see everything from a chest moving up and down really quick, and you have to try to aim at it and do enough damage within a certain amount of time. You're going to see chests that heal themselves slowly, and you really just have to dish out a lot of damage in a certain amount of time. Some other chests will try to attack you and just throw a lot of bullets at you and then open up itself. So there's all different kinds of chests that you're going to run into, and they're going to test different kind of decks. Let's see what we find here. This one looks self-explanatory. It was pretty simple. We just had to dish some damage out to it in a short amount of time. The run-of-the-mill chest, if you will. Another example of a distress beacon. Let's see what we find this time. And here's your example of a Relic hostage. Took 200 damage for the hit. We saved the hostage successfully. So there's always going to be a risk reward on saving hostages. Sometimes they're just strapped with like a bomb right behind them, and they can blow up in a certain amount of time, and in that case you just either save them or you don't have to worry about taking damage from that bomb. But in a lot of scenarios there's going to be turrets in front of them, and you can either tank the damage to help keep them alive and dish out damage to the turret to save them. A lot of times you'll be able to manipulate the turrets, maybe push them up or down onto an empty tile so you don't have to worry about them. There's many different ways to approach the hostage scenario, but unfortunately, a lot of the time it's going to be you face tanking the bullets and trying to keep the hostage alive if you want to save them. Here's another example of a treasure room. Let's see what kind of chest that we were up against this time. Looks like another straightforward. Oh, this time we have a chest that's going to be moving up and down. All right. Luckily, we had poison on it, and so the poison helped us take it down. But you can see they can be very tricky when they're moving up and down to dish out enough damage in that short amount of time. Alright. Next up, we have an example of a shop and what we'll be encountering. So once we see the shopkeeper, once we hit I, normally to look at our deck, it'll open the shop menu. And there's a lot of things that we're looking at here. On the very left of the screen, we're going to see artifacts. These are the different artifacts we could take, which will have passive abilities for us. She'll also sell us a couple spells, always 2 different spells. Bow Snipe and PK Fire we got rewarded with here, and then we have some packs. Packs are pretty cool. These are missions or usually negative things that we could take on to get certain resources. For instance, we can heal for 150 here, but we have to take 140 damage. That looks like an easy mission to take on. Let's grab that one. We have Cell Skin here. Lose 100 defense for 1 battle. Gain 150 max HP. So we'll get hit a lot harder for 1 battle, but we'll be able to increase our max HP afterwards. I'm in. Some of the things that we're going to be looking at: upgrade a spell. These are resources that we could gather and hold on to, and anytime we choose to upgrade a card, we can use one of these, especially if we find a good card that we like. So we'll grab an upgrade spell here. Nope, we're too broke. And that'll go over some of the other mechanics here. So we can always refresh the shop, get some new rolls, especially if we don't like what the shopkeeper's offering. We could spend 30 bucks and just get something completely new. Remove spell for $65. 65 money. And we could throw a card out of our deck. Remember that you always start with 1 removal. And on the left of that, you have Donate Blood. We can sacrifice 100 HP to get 20 money. Well, we definitely want to buy and upgrade a spell. So I think we're going to sacrifice some HP here. That'll bring us to 73, and now we have enough for upgrade spell. Grab one of those, and now if you look on next to our cards, it's going to show us, hey, you have an upgrade. You can upgrade one of your cards, and we'll do that by using the tab button. For instance, here, let's upgrade Anubis. Anubis is an all-around powerful card that we don't have to worry about as far as execution. Apply 40 poison to all enemies. Sounds simple enough. Let's upgrade it. So one of the really cool things about this game, another really cool thing about this game, is the upgrade trees. Cards don't upgrade one way. They always give you a choice. They're randomly generated, so you can always get different choices every time you upgrade the same card. And here in Anubis, we have 25% chance to apply Frost on hit. We can Consume, which is the same as Exhaust. You get to use it 1 time for that battle. And we'll also heal and gain 5 max HP every time we use it. Sounds pretty good to get early in a run. And then Anubis D here, double cast plus mana cost. So here you can see that it costs 2 mana instead of the 1 that we originally had, but it's going to be used twice every time we use it. So it's going to poison enemies for 80 poison every single time we use it. I think we'll take that. So as you can see, the game is going to give you a lot of freedom. It gives the player a lot of freedom. Even cards that normally probably wouldn't synergize with your deck, if they were really good, you could always grab them and shoot for some upgrades, and maybe make it fit your deck with its upgrade potential. Next up, we're going to see what a mini boss battle could look like. So we're gonna get some harder versions of enemies here. We'll also have the option to try and save a hostage, which is not looking good because a lot of these enemies do not like to play nice. There she goes. Failed to save the hostage, so we don't get the 100 HP from saving her, unfortunately. We did take a couple hits, so we also lost the Flawless. But at the end of the day, it was a mini boss, so we do get an artifact. We also leveled up. After each battle, we're going to be getting XP. Yes, our character can actually level up as well. Not just our deck and adding cards to our deck, but our player itself will also be leveling up through XP. And here we're going to be taking on the first boss of the area. At the end of each area, we're going to find the end boss before we can carry on with our adventure. Here we're going to be taking on Terra. She's usually one of the scarier bosses in the game, but we're taking her on in the first area. The way the game works is the earlier you fight the bosses, generally the easier they are. The further you get into the game and you find the bosses, they're going to have a lot more difficult patterns, and they're just going to be a lot more threatening. So taking out Terra early in the game is pretty beneficial for us. Here we go. All right, we'll be extremely careful here. Terra has is like the queen of field manipulation, so we're gonna be dealing with all kinds of stuff she's throwing at us, tearing up tiles so we can no longer walk over them, throwing blades at us, and we're gonna be doing a lot of crazy movement in this battle. She's known to end a lot of runs, especially while you're new. If you do tend to die to her a lot, do not be discouraged. Keep at it, you'll slowly learn her. She's one of the tougher boss fights, so there's no need to get discouraged with her killing you. She's doing a lot of dashing around here. Looks like we don't have a clean shot. We're just gonna wait until she gets into a new position and try to take advantage of it. Flame Wall should do the trick. She's almost dead. One solid hit. Perfect. So here we are brought with a choice. You can see that the boss is now brought down to 1 HP and took a knee. And we could kill her like we would normally do in any other video game, and we'll get some boss rewards, which is great. But this game also brings us to an interesting mechanic. We also have the option to spare the boss, and these each come with their own decisions based on what we need for our run. Anytime you spare a boss, you'll get rewarded with health, and you'll become pals. They can always return the favor a little bit later in the run. Or we could choose to slay the boss and get the additional rewards that we may need, try to power up our deck, get some powerful relics. And I think we're going to take that route this time. Sayonara, Terra! So here we got some powerful artifacts. We have Lucky Coin, 50% chance to gain 200 money or lose 200 money. This could go any direction. We do have 133 currently. This would be a good gamble, especially if we didn't have so much money. I don't know if I'm feeling lucky today. Mason Jar. Apply Fragile to everyone whenever you go below 1 mana. That sounds extremely powerful. I think we'll take that. Get some XP for successfully defeating the battle. And we're on to move on to the next area. At the end of every boss, they're going to give us a choice. We get to choose what area we want to take on next. As you learn the game, you're also going to learn that there's distinct bosses in each area. So you have a 1 out of 2 chance to snipe the boss that you want in each specific area. Alrighty guys, that's gonna be it for our first video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is our first attempt at making a video for you guys to help just take the edge off of release on the 26th when you guys decide to dive into this game. I do realize that there's a lot of mechanics and the game moves extremely fast, so any way that I can help you guys out and take that edge off so you could really just jump into the game and get right to enjoying it, I would love to extend that help to you guys. In the future, I'm planning on making some other videos, maybe some boss tutorial videos and advanced mechanics, just to help you guys really get into the game and people that might be struggling. On that note, this is going to be a wrap for our first video. Make sure you follow the Twitch link down below if you do enjoy indie games and roguelikes, where on the channel we play almost 6 to 7 days a week. We're there almost every day playing new roguelikes and finding new games, just like One Step from Eden. So be sure to check that out and come join us live, and we could chat and meet, and I'd look forward to that. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you comment down below. I'm gonna take my time and try to reply to every single one of them for you guys, as community is the most important thing to me. On that note, that's gonna call it a wrap for this video. Misfits out. Oh god.